Hi everyone, Phantom Horn here. You know, people are always asking me how I draw so pretty, so I decided to show you. This week's new episode is Twilight time, so in honor of that, I'm gonna draw a little picture of Twilight Sparkle, and you're all gonna get to watch. So, let's see what we're working with. Over here we've got ink and ink supplies, brushes, pens, pen tips for varying our line widths. Over here, we've got some pens of fixed width, as well as pencils for sketching, and erasers for cleaning up our first draft. I'm gonna start the sketch with a charcoal pencil so you can all follow along. Now I want to capture the essence of Twilight Sparkle, so I'm gonna start with the fundamentals, just blocking out the basic shapes. Now Twilight is a bookworm pony, loves to read, so I'm thinking maybe I'll give her some books, maybe right up here, yeah, she'd appreciate that. Alright, so when you're sketching, it's important to think in 3 dimensions all around the form, and to always sketch very lightly so that you can erase any mistakes you make. So with our basic forms blocked out, I'm gonna start shading using this graphite rod. Now when shading, you should always use a light touch. You can always darken it later, and always remember to consider the direction with which the light is illuminating the form. With the shading all done, I'm gonna add highlights using the Staedtler Mars rubber eraser, using the edge to gently add in areas of reflected light, and the corner to add in harder areas of point reflection. With the sketch all done, it's time to ink. This is the fun part. My preferred ink is India ink, but you gotta be careful with it. It stains. One of the most indispensable tools in ink drawing is the nib pen or G pen. Watch my technique here, as the varying pressures that I give to the pen can give me a wide variety of line widths. Brushes, on the other hand, offer a less precise but more expressive line with the potential for a far greater variety of line widths. It's up to the individual artist to discover which one works best for them. But pens and brushes are just 2 examples. Get creative! You can draw with anything, as long as you remember your fundamentals. Add a little hatching. Objects nearer to the viewer should get thicker outlines. Now with our outlines inked, it's time to add in just a few finishing touches. This technique is something that I've always done to make my pictures pop, but fancy techniques like these don't make a great drawing. Only a strong grasp of the basics can do that. And we're done. Anyway, that's how I draw Twilight Sparkle. I hope you all enjoyed the video, and if you found this tutorial helpful in your own drawing, be sure to let me know in the comments. Happy sketching, everyone!
Hello and welcome to this week's episode of TBBBAP.
That's 2 best brothers bitching about ponies.
I'm Cake Standard.
And I'm Phantom Horn.
And this week's episode was Twilight time,
in which the Cutie Mark Crusaders bask in Princess Twilight's reflected limelight.
with dire consequences. The biggest thing about this episode is that it was simple. It was very straightforward.
It was.
And it was, you know, we knew what was coming.
Yeah.
But you know what? That didn't hurt this episode at all.
Yes, it did.
I loved it.
I didn't like it.
I thought it was great.
Shit was boring.
The CMC on screen is always a treat.
Fuck.
And I just can't get enough of it. And so I just loved this episode. It was all CMC doing cute stuff, and that's it.
I like the CMC. I don't like them enough to excuse an episode where that has like a really thin conflict and that keeps revisiting the same ideas over and over again and dragging them out.
Yeah, but that's the thing. They're children going through a conflict like this, and they keep fucking it up, so
That's
it
all
takes
well-
them longer to learn it.
That's all well and good for them, but what about me, the viewer? I need shit to be happening. This episode was
obviously-
not concise.
Obviously, for you, the strengths of this episode weren't enough, but for me, they were. That's it. So, like, compare this episode to the last episode. In Philly Vanilli, there was just all these ups and downs, like all these like things that were great, and then all these things that were really shitty, and so it made me hate it.
Yeah.
This episode was like a consistent, like, positive. It didn't fuck up anything, as far as I'm concerned.
I mean, there weren't any huge issues. There just wasn't enough going on.
I guess for people with shit taste, you might view it that way.
Yeah, you do view it that way. Wait, no, you don't.
So, yeah, this is a Cutie Mark Crusader episode, but really the focus, I thought, was a lot on Sweetie Belle. Sweetie Belle was the leader of the pack here.
She does kind of take the initiative, always being like, don't worry, I know what to do.
And you know we've talked about how I need more Sweetie Belle.
I like
the others
Sweetie
have
Belle.
gotten a lot of fleshing out. Sweetie Belle needs more.
She's good.
Even her one, like, episode about Sweetie Belle was really like a rarity episode.
You mean Sisterhood
Sisterhood
Social?
Social, yeah. Yeah, so I've been dying for more Sweetie.
Okay.
And this helped me deliver a little bit on that. She got some personality, she took charge.
Hey.
And most interestingly, she was acting a lot like Rarity this episode.
Kind of like a diva, yeah.
Yeah, she was like a diva. She was being like assertive and stuff.
I guess
the way
that's
she was
true.
like wheeling and dealing, trying to get ahead, like in her social circle. I was like, hey, I see some Rarity here. This is kind of cool.
Did you feel like her voice was different? I felt like she sounded
yeah.
older.
I thought the same thing.
And
I did.
Yeah, and there were times when like there were a conspicuous lack of squeaks.
And one other thing about this episode, it was all about the Cutie Mark Crusaders' relationship with Twilight, trying to use their relationship with her to get ahead. I thought Twilight was really cool in this episode. First of all, she was treated like a princess.
Which
was good.
That was good.
I need more Twilight princess. Please justify magical mystery cure writers, please.
That was good, but I thought Twilight was pretty boring.
Well,
like she's just kind of standing around being magnanimous. She's sort of unreactive to all the shit going on. She's just like, "Oh, don't worry about it." She acts a little bit like Cadence. Well, honestly, but I'm not too fussed because she's not the focus of the episode.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say.
So it's not a deal breaker.
Yeah, it wasn't her fault. This was all about the Cutie Mark
But I mean,
Crusaders.
we did get a little bit of her being goofy and getting all messy in the McDonald's.
I thought that was weird. Like, why is she such a messy eater for no reason? Like in Equestria Girl, she kind of did that, but it like made sense because she was a human now.
No, she's awkward. It's fine.
Oh, she's so awkward,
she
guys.
Is. This is the thing.
Yeah, I guess. You said she acted kind of like Cadence. I thought that was also a good thing because she acted like a princess. Like she was able to like organize everybody when they came to her house. But she took charge. But Cadence, she disciplined them when she heard these fools acting up. She was like, "Hey guys, you can't be using my influence. I gotta straighten you out."
Yeah,
I just felt some real princess vibes this episode.
I kind of felt like she was sort of taking charge and being all like leaderly and like because she's in the presence of all these kids and she sort of has to take charge.
Right.
I don't want her to act like Cadence all the time.
Well, I know no one wants her to act like Cadence.
I know that that's more princessly, but I don't want her to be like that. I want her to stay Twilight, but like take on princess responsibilities. She still didn't have any princess responsibilities in this episode.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just the kids being like, "Oh, she's a princess," and acknowledging her, which is good. Don't get me wrong, I like it. However, it does kind of make me pine or wish that other episodes did that too.
Yeah.
So it's just like a little taste of honey, perhaps worse than none at all. No, that's not true. I liked it.
Yeah, I liked it. And one other thing, all the kids were really excited to meet Twilight. Because she's a princess now. Yeah. It's just, Twilight's so accessible.
She's so accessible.
Why are they surprised? But they are kids. They're retarded kids.
But Diamond Tiara and Silver Spoon make a specific point, which is probably the funniest moment of the episode, when Diamond Tiara is like, "Yeah, I used to see her and say whatever," and Silver Spoon, I said that too.
Oh, dude, yeah, Diamond Tiara, Silver Spoon rocked it this episode. She was really funny.
Yeah, they were good. By the way, why did Diamond Tiara invite the CMC to go to Manhattan with them? Like, if they had been going to Manhattan, would they actually have brought them?
No, they were just teasing him.
But there was a very real chance they might have said yes.
No, there wasn't. When does anyone go to Manhattan?
More importantly, they go to see, quote, "a bunch of famous celebrities." This is the worst line in the entire episode, probably the entire season.
It's perfect because they're kids and it's stupid, and that's what a kid would say, something stupid.
It's dumb. It's like they could have said Sapphire Shores. Why don't they just say Sapphire Shores?
It's what kids say. I don't see the problem.
No, it's what a writer that doesn't know what else to say says.
I completely disagree.
All right, so back to why this episode kind of bored me. For example, the scene with the lemonade stand and then the subsequent scene at Diamond Tiara's house both accomplish the same thing.
That's true.
Like, they're both just showing how the kids are now wanting to do favors for the CMC in order to get in with Twilight Sparkle. Could have condensed them into one. By the way, who the fuck ever made such a big deal about a lemonade stand opening? But whatever.
He's a kid, man. He's got different priorities.
Like, yeah, everyone shows up. Everyone in school comes to see his lemonade stand. He probably invited all his friends, and he was giving free lemonade out. Why would Diamond Tiara? Whatever. No, it's good. It's good.
And again in this episode, the main six didn't show up all, which was perfect. And only Pinkie Pie showed up, and it was like perfect, Her role was absolutely perfect. They did a much better job of doing her than last week. So, kudos to them. No excessive characters.
Agree. This ep made me laugh, but only like once or twice. I felt like they spent too much of the time like explaining things and like progressing the plot without enough time for humor left over.
I don't know. I have no thoughts.
I guess what I'm saying is it wasn't that funny. The whole conflict of everyone wants to go see Twilight, but we don't want to give them blah, 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 it's popularity, whatever, gets explained, the CMC explained it to each other, like, several times, and then in the end, like, the big climax, they have to explain it again to Twilight, and it just it's just a lot of talking. Like, there's one part where it was funny when Scoots makes the faces to the kids taking photographs. I was like, wow, that's awesome. But then afterwards, they take a minute and, like, talk about it. Apple Bloom addresses it directly, and that just killed it for me.
You know, it looked like they put in a lot of effort to make a new bunch of fillies to include in the crowd shots.
There were.
That was pretty cool.
My favorite was Afro Philly, who, by the way, has conspicuously has Spike's voice.
He does have Spike's voice, and I think he had a train cutie mark. I wonder what his deal is. One of the things I liked best about the episode was just the premise of Twilight teaching the CMC skills to, you know, for the sake of learning stuff, you know, to get their cutie marks or whatever. I just thought that was a cool setup.
Yeah, sure, it's solid.
But, you know, the fact that Apple Bloom was learning magic potion making, I was expecting half the episode Applejack to bust through the door and be like, who's teaching my sister magic?
No.
We don't do that shit in my family.
Now that you mention it, I like that, because Apple Bloom has helped Zecora mix potions before. That's kind of a thing she does.
Oh, yeah, I guess she has, hasn't she?
Yeah.
Some decent continuity, I guess.
Also, scooters are suddenly a really big thing in this episode. Like all the kids have them.
They've got to justify Scootaloo's
rendering Scootaloo completely obsolete. Nitpick, at the end of the episode, why do they all demonstrate their talents and fail, and then immediately afterwards, when they're leaving, do them correctly and succeed?
Well, if you'll notice, they all do them on a smaller scale than what they would try to do to impress everybody. Like, Sweetie Belle only levitates a little flower, not the broom, showing some progress, just not as much as she was trying to show off.
Scootaloo's scooter is back together all of a sudden. Also, that episode is like, for such... They milk it so hard. They have, like, the most dramatic music, and I just had to roll my eyes.
I didn't get that at all.
I was like, ugh. I felt like they tried too hard with it.
Don't worry if you don't agree with Phantom Horn. He has shit taste. So, in conclusion, I thought this episode was great. It was charming, it was sweet, it featured the CMC, who are my favorite ponies, and I give it 5 Scootaloos out of 8.
Well, I didn't hate it, but it really didn't do it for me either. I shrug.
And that'll wrap up this week's episode of TBBBAP.
That's two best brothers bitching about ponies.
I'm Cake Standing.
And I'm Phantom Horn.
See you next time.
Exterminate the weak, execution level next. No way to explain it. I'm XXX, bitch, triple X rated.
In the coming weeks, we'll be having an official TBBAP Q&A, where the guys behind TBBAP will answer any questions you ask them. Just leave your questions as comments to this video, or ask on our official TBBAP Ask blog. We'll have a link at the end of the video.
Hey guys, thanks for watching. Be sure to subscribe to our channel. We release a new review each week. And check out our other reviews of Season 4. You can ask Kagan Phantom questions on the TBBAP Ask blog, and if you make fan art, be sure to submit it to the new TBBAP Submissions Tumblr.